Hello, everybody. This is Pete from PA Labs, and today I want to do a quick talk about JSON files, JSON, that is JavaScript Object Notation. And it has become, since its invention, it has become the de facto way for passing data between applications for a large degree. It's like XML, but different. It is a object structure that is a string. It turns an object which is like unique to a language, and everybody calls them different. C# calls them objects, and there's classes and yada yada. We in PureBasic use modules, but it's tantamount to being the same thing. And I want to start by showing you there's two magical functions. And first, let's, I guess, come in here and take a look. See, this is what a JSON file looks like. Okay. This would be identifying a list, the square brackets, and each of the squirrely parentheses identifies the data in a record being defined by between the squirrely brackets, and then you have a comma in the next record, and so on and so forth. And then you have a element name and an element value separated by a comma. If it's all in quotes, it's a string. You could call that attributes. These are fields, if you will. Think of a single row as a structure, okay? So you have a field called name, and then he has a value, and then we have a field called row, and he's a number. 4, we have a column who's a 6, resources who's 500, okay? And we have many rows. So this is a collection of a single structure, okay? And what JSON does is it's got this wonderful little format, and you can take objects just like we've been defining in modules and turn them into just a standard string, pass that to anything, anywhere, any language. I could pass this to Python. I could pass this to Pascal. I could pass this to C#. Because it's just a string. I could pass it to the web, and the web can use this. No big deal. It is like the de facto way to transmit data. Now, one of the drawbacks, or I guess it's not necessarily a drawback, if we think in terms of like games, you have data which is everything except images, correct? And then you have your sprite sheets that are images. Okay, so you would turn them into a PNG or a bitmap or what have you. So that is the way to pass images. Last night, I was actually writing the routine for bringing in the output of the MapMaker program. And what I had done in MapMaker was export the entire map structure. Now, the map structure is comprised of an awful lot of stuff. So let's look at how we can take an object, or let's see, this is taking a string and turning it into an object. Let's do this one. Okay, so if we have a structure and we come out here in a structure, and then we define a person, and we're defining a person called P as type person. And then we're saying, okay, P's first name is John Smith. Evidently, they're a Pocahontas fan, whoever did this. And they have an age of 42. Now, what he's done is say, okay, we're going to add an element. So we have books. So we have a structure down here with a list of strings. So John Smith wrote Investing for Dummies, and he wrote this and he wrote that. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take this object, this structure that we've created in memory, and then we're going to create an instance of JSON, and we're going to pass our object P. Remember, we created P of type person. So we're passing our object in as a reference. So we do the ampersand, and then we tell him what structure is P. What give me the overall structure for P? I need to know what that structure name is. One sentence. That guy right there is magic. Watch what happens when we run this. If I run that, we get our JSON file. Now this is this pretty print composed JSON with this pretty print thing. That's what makes this look like this, where it's very easily read. You can come in here and say, okay, we have books. And then we have the list of books. So what he's done is kind of flipped this a bit upside down, didn't he? That's kind of funny, isn't it? I didn't notice that until now. So he's doing our structure, and he did it from the bottom. Well, he did the list first. So here's our list of 3 books. And then we list his first name. Oh, he's doing it alphabetically. No, he's not. I guess he does list first, then fields, because age should be first if it was alphabetic. I'm not sure what his order is. I guess it doesn't matter. So we have our list of books. We have a first name John, we have a last name Smith, and we have age 42. So this is simply a string. I could pass that in a text message. I could pass that literally as just about anything, an attachment to an email. In some other program, you could say, hey, here's my object. It's in a JSON structure. Turn it into an object and go use it in your data. Completely changing languages, completely changing. You could even change machines. You can go from Windows to Linux or to Raspberry or to Unix or, it doesn't matter. VAX, it doesn't, I don't know if they're still around. But it takes our object and converts it. Now, it will convert an object of any size. Now we actually have the reverse of that, where we are taking this string, okay, here's our string, and it is in a structure of JSON. It is a JSON structure, and we just stick him into input. We have our person structure here, which is the same as we had before. This time, our 2 commands we're going to issue is parse JSON. So we're going to create a JSON object, and we're going to parse the input. And then we're going to extract a JSON structure. And then what we're going to do is we have our JSON value 0. So this is our JSON. And then we're going to create an object P, because he didn't instantiate that yet, right? So he's going to create an object P of type person, and then we're telling him that this is our structure name, okay? And now, when these 2 lines run, this string is converted back into our structure, and we now have a variable called P of type person that we can then print age and name, and we could list his books. So take a look and see how this works. So we're taking in the string, we convert it to an object, and now our code is playing with objects. We're playing with structures, and we're playing right now. A structure is the fundamental piece of a module. So you can take a huge module structure and convert it to a JSON file, and then convert it from the JSON file back into an object structure. So this has many, many applications. For example, I'm using this in the Wargame project I'm working on, where the map maker exports all the data. He gives us the images and he gives us a JSON file. All right. See, we output the images and we output the data. When you look at a structure and you have images in it, what you have in your structure is a number that in PureBasic is an image, correct? So you import or you export the images separately, and then the JSON handles the entirety of the data itself, non-image. And I'll bet you there's even a way to put images in there. I would venture to say they have a list of binary, and you can output an image as binary, kind of like what they did in SMTP with emails, and you encoded a image as a binary file. So, but down and dirty, it's 2 sentences to go from your object structure, whatever that happens to be. If that's a nested, great big monstrous tree, you can output it almost instantaneously to a string, zip the string, take it anywhere in the world, convert it right back into an object again, almost instantly. It has this has so many uses and whatnot. So I don't want you to think that this is the only way to do this. XML exists. XML is a mirror sort of structuring protocol, if you will, of this, where you have actually the exact same commands, except like over here when you're doing insert JSON structure, it becomes insert XML structure, whichever you prefer. It's the same but different. So yeah, this is something to keep in the back of your head for when you're looking at certain problems. This is the answer, and it works wonderfully. I've used it in a number of solutions. So that pretty much concludes this this video, and thanks for y'all's time.